Hey Brian, so I was reading this massive nerd paper about these L-shaped flood barriers. You know, the ones that use water to pin themselves down instead of being big and heavy like my aunt's fruitcake. How does water actually help hold a plastic wall in place? Sounds like the world's weirdest Jedi move.
It's not mystical, Peter. It's clever vector mechanics. The floodwater pressing against the vertical face creates a horizontal thrust, but the same water that builds up on the horizontal sole adds downward load. So the harder the water pushes, the harder it pins the barrier. Sort of like using your opponent's momentum to trip them, only your opponent is literally water.
So it's like jiu-jitsu for flood control. But what about those rubber bits and corner pieces? Wouldn't rough ground or debris mess that up and let the river stroll right in like it owns the place?
Precisely. Seals and gaskets are critical. On smooth concrete, they perform beautifully, but on grass or cobbles, you need liners or ballast. Debris impact and underseepage are real failure modes. The system is smart, not invincible. It raises interesting operational questions. How much pre-planning do municipalities need to do to ensure continuity of protection? And who's responsible for assessing the ground before a storm?
Huh. And what about the materials, PP and ABS or whatever? They float, right? So how do they not just bob away like my uncle at an open bar?
Designers use geometry and captured water volume to overcome buoyancy and additives for UV stability. But it's a trade-off. Lighter units are easier to deploy but rely more on that self-anchoring physics. That leads me to a bigger thought. Is investing in reusable polymer systems more sustainable and cost-effective over decades than endless sandbag cycles? And politically, are cities prepared to change procurement and training practices for that shift?
Man, if only they made a flood barrier that also dispensed beer, then we'd have a real winner.
I'm a writer, you know? But even I'd take a dual-purpose barrier as long as it doesn't compromise the seal. Would you trust something you can drink from to also keep your house dry?